Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm trying something new, a little live-ish, more in person, and I wanted to record a quick mini episode to close out 2025 because what a year it's been. I was just sipping on my tea, and the tea bag tag read, "The purpose of life is to know yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, and be yourself." And it's kind of funny because it's kind of the theme of the podcast tonight. And it might not be evident at first, but I think you'll see as we go. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about boundaries. I had to set one recently with someone who I really care about, who had a lot of meaning in my life. And even though I was calm and honest, it still felt really harsh in my body. And that's not because I was attacking. It's because I am so used to being the one who cushions, who over-explains. I am used to being a people pleaser. And that feels really uncomfortable. So if you're like me and you start saying things like, "That doesn't work for me," or "I'm not going to keep this conversation going if it stays like this," or "That's not something I'm going to talk about here," your nervous system goes, "Whoa, that sounds really mean." But it isn't. It's not mean. It's actually being honest. It lets people know where we stand and how we deserve to be treated. It's choosing the courage to love yourself, even when there's a risk someone might feel disappointed or end a relationship. And I struggle with that because I don't like letting people down or making them feel uncomfortable. But here's what I've learned. When we don't have boundaries, resentment grows. We start blaming the other person for putting us in a position where we have to say no. And that's actually not fair to them. And when we practice saying no kindly and directly, we feel less resentment and have more capacity to give in ways that actually feel good and sustainable. So let's talk about what a boundary is and what it isn't. A boundary is not, "Let me tell you all the things that are wrong with you." A boundary is, "Here's what I need in order to stay in integrity with myself." And this is where accountability comes in. Boundaries aren't about controlling someone else. They're about being accountable to myself. Accountability means I name the impact, I tell the truth about what I need, and I take responsibility for my own follow through. It isn't, "You need to change so I feel okay." And that's control. That rarely lands well. You all know. It sounds more like, "When this happens, it hurts. And if it keeps happening, I'm going to step back." That's not punishment. That's self-respect. Boundaries are about my limits, my nervous system, my capacity. A boundary might sound like, "If the conversation turns hostile, I'm going to step away and we can try again later." Or, "I love you, and I'm not going to participate in conversations where we criticize other people in the family. If it goes there, I'm going to change the subject or I'll leave." Boundaries don't require agreement from the other person because they're not rules. They work because I follow through. Once you say it out loud, the power lives in honoring it. Rules, on the other hand, they're about control. Rules say, "You need to change so I feel okay." Things like, "You're not allowed to talk to me like that," or "You need to respect my boundary," or "You knew that was my boundary and you crossed it." Rules create power struggles. Boundaries create clarity. A simple way to remember this is, if it starts with "you need to," it's probably a rule. If it starts with "if X happens, I will," it's probably a boundary. So, as we head into the new year, I'm not thinking, "New year, new me." No, it's the same me. I'm thinking about intentions. And one of mine is to stop confusing caretaking with love, to stop calling self-abandonment kindness. and to practice boundaries rooted in honesty and self-respect, even when they feel shaky, uncomfortable, and unfamiliar. So when I say, I need space, this doesn't work for me, or I can't keep doing it this way, it isn't because I love people less or want to be difficult. It's because I'm finally including myself in the circle of people I care about. Loving others without leaving myself behind. Because boundaries aren't walls, they're not punishment, and they're not about control. They're honest limits that help relationships become more real. Learning how to do boundaries isn't about becoming tougher. It's about finally telling the truth to myself. And I'm practicing. I feel the wobble. I second guess. I still notice the urge to soften, to over-explain, or to caretake. So when you first start, boundaries might feel scary or mean. And you might think, I don't want to be the bad guy. I get it. And that's normal, especially for those of us who have spent a lifetime people-pleasing and wanting to be liked. It might not feel comfortable at the first time, or the second, or the third, or even the 20th. And then something shifts. You feel the self-respect that comes from telling the truth. Conversations feel calmer, and you stop sacrificing yourself and your integrity for someone else's comfort. You realize, I matter here too. So, if this is something you're learning or want to learn, you're not alone. I'm learning right alongside you. And see, that's where the tea comes in. The purpose of life is to know yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, and be yourself. My hope this year is that we practice being clear and kind, loving, and also home to ourselves, where real belonging begins. If this resonates, I'd love for you to keep walking this with me, noticing, practicing, messing it up, and trying again. I'm really glad you're here. I'm Dr. Jess Hayden, and this is Simply Heard, The Space Between. Happy New Year, and take care of yourself. I'm Dr. Jess Hayden, and this is Simply Heard, The Space Between, a podcast produced by Simply Centered Psychological Services in Raleigh, North Carolina. Simply Heard, The Space Between is meant for educational and informational purposes only and should not be used as a replacement for therapy.